He was young, strikingly handsome, and one of the most powerful billionaire CEOs in his 30s. To every lady who saw him, he was the perfect fantasy, the man of their dreams. Yet, behind the glamour, he believed in nothing called love. With wealth at his command, he thought women were nothing more than tools of pleasure, trophies he could pick and drop at will. Each day brought a new conquest: maids, female neighbors, employees, even married women. None was beyond his reach. With arrogance, he would laugh to himself. I can have any woman I want. But destiny had a cruel twist in store. What happened next, no one saw coming. Not even him could have imagined it. Stay with us till the very end. Don't skip even a second, so you don't miss out on the chilling and suspenseful events in this story. And if this is your first time seeing our video, kindly hit the subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up. Share it with a friend who needs to hear this, and drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Your support means the world to us. Now the story begins. Jake leaned back in his leather chair, the dim golden light of his office bouncing off the glass walls and reflecting the city skyline. His phone buzzed, and without checking the caller ID, he ignored it. Another dinner invitation, another woman's attempt to get close. He had seen too many of them. For Jake, love was a language he never bothered to learn. His secretary, Clara, stepped into the room nervously, holding a stack of documents. She paused at the door, her perfume lingering in the air. "Sir, should I leave these here?" she asked softly. Jake smirked. "Clara, why do you tremble when you speak? Am I such a monster?" She shook her head quickly. "No, sir. It's just people talk. They say you." She stopped herself. Jake rose, walked to her, and leaned so close that she could hear his calm but dangerous whisper. "They say I take what I want. Isn't that what you're afraid of?" Clara's cheeks flushed. "Sir, I respect you. I wouldn't." Jake chuckled darkly and took the file from her hands. "Respect is overrated. People like you only want to impress me. But don't forget, Clara, the moment you bore me, the door is always open. Leave and never return." Clara's lips quivered, but she forced a smile, dropped her gaze, and walked out. Jake's laughter followed her. That night, Baba Ajaryi, his elderly driver, waited by the car. The man's gray beard caught the streetlights, his eyes steady with wisdom. "Oga Jake," Baba began gently, "I see the way you live. Don't you think it's dangerous? Not every woman is what she appears. Some come with shadows, some with spirits. A man who plays with all will one day meet the one that will play him." Jake rolled his eyes, loosening his tie. "Baba, you've been with me for years, yet you talk like a village priest. Relax. I am untouchable." Baba Ajaryi sighed. "Even the lion is not untouchable when the hunter sets his trap." Jake ignored him and slipped into the back seat, but Baba's words lingered like a ghost in the air. The next morning, his mother, Mrs. Lenz, sat in his mansion's living room, holding her Bible tightly. She looked frail, but her voice carried weight. "Jake, my son," she said, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "Why do you live this way? Every week, another girl leaves this house in shame. Have you no thought of marriage, of legacy, of love?" Jake poured himself a drink and sipped slowly. "Mother, love is a trick, a weakness. Power is the only thing that matters. These women," he waved his hand dismissively, "they come to me willingly. None can resist me, and none can keep me." His mother's voice trembled. "I fear for you, Jake. The world you do not see is stronger than the world you see. If you continue, one day you will fall into the hands of something greater than you, something you cannot buy with money." Jake smirked. "Mother, you worry too much. Nothing greater than me exists." Mrs. Lenz closed her eyes in prayer, whispering words Jake refused to hear. Later that evening, as he attended a high-profile business gala, he saw her, tall, graceful, with eyes that shimmered like the ocean under the moon. She wore a gown of emerald silk, her hair flowing like black water. When she smiled, the room seemed to dim, leaving only her glow. She approached him with confidence, her voice as smooth as music. "You must be Jake, the man every woman desires, yet no woman holds." Jake raised a brow, intrigued for the first time in years. And who are you, to speak so boldly? She leaned close, her lips curving into a mischievous smile. Call me Serafina. I'm not here to desire you. I'm here to claim you. Jake chuckled, though something in her gaze made his chest tighten. Claim me? My dear, I am no one's possession. Serafina touched his arm lightly, her fingers cold, yet burning. We'll see. The night ended with her voice echoing in his head, her eyes haunting him like a tide that refused to retreat. For the first time, Jake found himself restless, unable to sleep. And as he lay awake, the sound of the waves outside his mansion grew louder, though his estate was miles away from the sea. The following day at his office, Jake found it impossible to focus. Meetings dragged, papers blurred before his eyes, and every sound seemed far away. His mind was full of her, the woman who called herself Serafina. Sir, his secretary Clara asked timidly as she stepped into his office. You seem distracted. Should I reschedule the board meeting? Jake shot her a sharp look. Are you now my doctor, Clara? Get out. Clara bowed quickly and left, but not before glancing at him strangely. She had never seen him unsettled, never seen his mask crack. That night, Jake's mansion was quiet. He poured himself a drink and stepped onto the balcony. The air was heavy, unusually damp. He glanced at his swimming pool below and froze. Serafina was there, standing at the edge of the pool in a flowing white gown that shimmered like liquid moonlight. She smiled when their eyes met. Jake rushed down, anger masking his confusion. How did you get in here? She tilted her head, her hair spilling like a dark waterfall. Does it matter? The truth is, you wanted me here. Jake frowned. I don't want anyone. I take what I wish. That's all. Serafina's laughter was like rippling water. And what if you find yourself taken instead? Jake's jaw tightened. Impossible. She stepped closer, her scent intoxicating, her eyes glistening with something otherworldly. Jake, your empire is nothing without me. Your power means nothing beside mine. Sign it all, and I will give you a kingdom no man has seen. Refuse, and I will watch as everything you own crumbles into sand. Jake's heart raced, though he refused to show fear. Do you think I'll be blackmailed? I have lawyers, guards, wealth. But her laughter silenced him. The sound wasn't human. It was deep, echoing, layered with voices. His glass shattered in his hand without her touching it. Your wealth is paper. Your guards are dust. Jake, don't deceive yourself. You've already signed the contract the moment you desired me. Jake stumbled back, shaking his head. No, I didn't. Serafina drew near until her lips almost brushed his ear. Your soul wrote it for you. The chandelier above them flickered violently, and Jake felt cold sweat run down his neck. But even in terror, he could not step away from her. He was bound, his will tangled in the currents of her presence. The next morning, Baba Ajari noticed Jake sitting in the car unusually quiet, staring out the window with dark circles under his eyes. Oga Jake, the driver said softly. For the first time since I've known you, you look afraid. Something is happening. Tell me, who is she? Jake's head whipped around. What are you talking about? Baba's eyes were calm. There's always a woman in the story of a man's fall. Some women are flesh. Some are water. Which one found you? Jake gritted his teeth. Enough of your riddles, old man. Drive. But Baba Ajari sighed, muttering under his breath. He is already in her net. May the gods have mercy. That evening, Mrs. Lenz arrived unannounced, her Bible pressed against her chest. She found Jake pacing his study, his face pale. My son, she said, her voice trembling. I had a dream last night. You were drowning. I reached for you, but a woman of the sea pulled you down. I woke up crying your name. Jake, listen to me. Stop whatever you are doing. Turn away before it's too late. Jake stopped pacing, his fists clenched. Mother, leave me alone. These dreams of yours, these warnings, they mean nothing. I am in control. Mrs. Lenz burst into tears. No, Jake, you are not. I see it in your eyes. You are already chained. Jake turned his back to her, unable to answer. Her sobs filled the room, like a prayer unanswered. That night, when the mansion grew silent, Serafina appeared again, this time in his bedroom. He did not question how she came. He only stared, trembling, as she handed him a document. "Sign it, Jake. Everything you own. Your company. Your accounts. Your empire. Hand it over." Jake's voice cracked for the first time in years. "And if I refuse?" Her eyes flared like stormy seas. The windows burst open, and water rushed in though the mansion was nowhere near the ocean. "Then you drown tonight." Jake's hand shook as he took the pen, and though his mind screamed against it, his body obeyed her command. When the final stroke was written, Serafina smiled, a smile too beautiful to belong to earth. "Now, my love," she whispered, "you are mine." At that moment, Jake felt his chest tighten. His skin grew cold. He gasped as his body shrank, his limbs folding unnaturally until he was no larger than a doll. Serafina lifted a glass bottle from her gown, uncorked it, and with a swift motion, swept him inside. Jake pounded against the glass, screaming, "No! No! Let me out!" Serafina held the bottle close to her lips and whispered, "I warned you. Men like you always think they can never be caught, but even lions drown in the sea." And with that, she vanished into thin air, the bottle clutched in her hand, leaving Jake's mansion eerily empty. The next morning, his employees arrived at the office to find chaos, bank accounts wiped, ownership transferred, contracts void. The billionaire CEO was gone. The city buzzed with confusion. His mother wept uncontrollably. Baba Ajayi whispered, "The sea has taken him." But no one imagined the truth, that Jake, once untouchable, was now locked in a bottle, sinking deeper and deeper into the ocean, his screams swallowed by water and regret. Inside the bottle, the world was distorted and cruel. Jake pressed his palms against the glass until they bruised, but nothing gave way. The sound of his own breathing was loud, panicked, bouncing back at him in echoes. Around him, all he could see was endless blue water, thick and suffocating. No, this can't be real," Jake muttered, his voice breaking. "I am Jake Lensford, CEO, billionaire untouchable." His words turned into a sob. "This is a dream. This is just a dream." But the cold, crushing silence told him otherwise. He remembered Baba Ajayi's words, his mother's tears, and he screamed so loud that the ocean itself seemed to tremble, though no ear above the waves heard him. Above the sea, Serafina glided through the waters, holding the bottle like a jewel. She looked down at Jake, her expression unreadable. "You had the world, Jake, but you never valued it. Now you belong to me. Forever." She kissed the glass, and Jake recoiled inside, pressing against the farthest corner. Her laughter followed him, muffled by the sea. Meanwhile, on land, Jake's disappearance sent shockwaves. The company spiraled into chaos, stock values plummeting, employees panicking. At the mansion, police stormed in, searching every corner. There was no trace. Mrs. Len sat in her son's study, clutching his picture, her tears soaking the frame. "Jake, where are you? My son, my pride, why didn't you listen?" She rocked back and forth, whispering prayers that seemed to dissolve into silence. Baba Ajayi stood by the window, his old hands shaking as he tightened the knot of his wrapper. The policeman questioned him. "When last did you see Mr. Lensford?" one officer asked. Baba's eyes were distant. "I saw him, but not the man you knew. Something else had already taken him. I warned him, but he laughed at me." The officer frowned. "Old man, this is not a time for riddles. Where did he go?" Baba closed his eyes. "Under the sea." The policemen exchanged irritated glances, assuming the driver had gone senile. They left him alone. But Baba Ajayi knew. He had seen men swallowed by spirits before. Jake was no different. Clara, the secretary, sat at her desk the next morning, staring at her phone. She replayed the last moment she saw him, the sharpness in his eyes, the fear that flickered when he thought no one noticed. She whispered under her breath, "Who was she? That woman he met at the gala, who was she?" But she had no answer, only the gnawing sense that something supernatural had stolen her boss away. Inside the bottle, days felt like months. Jake's once immaculate suit was torn, his hair disheveled, his eyes swollen from crying. He pounded again and again, his knuckles bleeding, but the glass never cracked. "Baba! Mother! Somebody help me!" he cried, his voice hoarse. "Please! I don't want to die here!" He slumped in despair, and a memory struck him. His mother's trembling voice. "The world you do not see is stronger than the world you see." For the first time in his life, Jake admitted defeat. "I should have listened. God help me. Baba, forgive me. Mama, forgive me." His tears mixed with the salt of the sea pressing in around him. Serafina appeared again outside the bottle, her hair flowing in the water like black smoke. "Are you comfortable, my love?" she asked, her voice echoing eerily inside his prison. Jake glared at her, his fists clenched. "Why me? Out of all the men in the world, why me?" Her smile widened. "Because you were too proud. The higher the tower, the sweeter the sound when it collapses. You thought you were untouchable, but even kings drown when the tide rises." Jake slammed his fists against the glass. "Kill me then. End it." Serafina's eyes glowed. "Oh no, Jake. Death is mercy, and mercy is not what I give. You will remain here, locked in glass, watching eternity pass, forgotten by the world above." Jake shook his head violently. "No. Someone will find me. They'll search, But Serafina silenced him with a laugh. "They are searching, yes. But they are searching in the wrong world. You belong to the sea now, and no one will think to look here." And with that, she swam deeper, the bottle sinking with her, disappearing into the endless darkness of the ocean floor. Back on land, Baba Ajari knelt before Mrs. Lenz. His old voice cracked with sorrow. "Madam, I fear your son is gone. Not dead, but taken. The sea does not return what it swallows." Mrs. Lenz sobbed uncontrollably, clutching the edges of her wrapper. "Then let me die too. What use is life if my son is gone?" Baba shook his head. "Do not curse yourself, Mama. Sometimes, only prayer can reach where human eyes cannot." But as he said the words, his own heart knew the truth. Jake was trapped where no human prayer could touch. And far below, in the darkness of the sea, Jake Lenz Ford, the billionaire once worshipped by many, screamed until his voice gave out, his body trembling in a prison no one on earth imagined. Weeks turned into months. The headlines slowly shifted. At first, every news channel blared. Billionaire CEO, Jake Lenz Ford, missing without a trace. But as time passed and no clues surfaced, the noise died. Investigations dried up. Speculations faded. The world moved on. Inside the bottle, Jake had lost track of time. His once proud voice was reduced to whispers, his fists too weak to strike the glass. He sat curled in despair, staring out at the endless waves above him. He had built an empire, owned towers that kissed the sky, but none of it mattered now. He was only a forgotten soul, a prisoner of his own arrogance. Sometimes Serafina would appear, gliding gracefully through the waters. She would tilt the bottle in her hand and smile. "Still waiting for rescue, my love? Still hoping someone remembers you?" Jake's cracked lips trembled. "Please let me go. I'll give you anything." Her laughter rippled like thunder in the ocean. "You already gave me everything." And she would disappear again, leaving him alone with his regrets. Above the sea, his mother, Mrs. Lenz, grew weaker with every passing day. She refused to eat, her prayers now only a whisper. Sometimes she looked out the window and said, "My son, the sea holds you, but I still call your name." Baba Ajari remained faithful, driving her to church, holding her hand through grief. One evening, as they sat together, he spoke with the sorrow of one who had seen too much. "Madam, the ways of the heart are deeper than the sea. I warned him, but pride made him deaf. Women came, but none were meant to stay, because he never sought love, only conquest. And now, the sea has conquered him." Mrs. Lenz wept. If only he had listened. Baba nodded slowly. Yes, if only. The employees at his company moved on under new leadership. The mansion, once full of noise, stood empty, its halls echoing with silence. Jake Lenz Ford, the man who thought himself untouchable, had vanished from memory as swiftly as he had vanished from earth. But in the deep, he still lived. Alive, yet not living. Waiting, yet forgotten. his cries muted by glass, his empire gone, his pride shattered. And so ended the story of Jake Ford, a man who conquered women but could not conquer himself. Jake's fate whispers a warning to every heart. Pride is a chain heavier than iron, and lust is a fire that burns without mercy. He laughed at wisdom, scorned his mother's tears, mocked the warnings of an elder, and thought himself greater than love itself. But in the end, it was love, twisted, counterfeit love, that became his downfall. Learn from Jake. Listen when wisdom speaks. Value those who pray for you, for their words see farther than your eyes. Do not mock love, for love is not weakness but strength. And above all, do not chase every glittering desire, for some shine only to drag you into the deep. For Jake's story is not just his. It is the story of every man who believes himself untouchable.